The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. And as always, I do have that set up correctly. We come together at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Yeah, it just seemed to come from one side, not both. I do not know why. Anyway, what do we have going on today? Well, earlier in the day, I was looking, the volume was fairly light. It still is. 6.6 billion shares on the CBOE consolidated tape. We should be doing about 7.2, maybe 7.5 billion shares if this was going to be a big signal. I do think that this is the pullback before the FOMC meeting that we regularly get. We also, just the way that it all falls out, we're going to have fun buying this week. We've got the European Fed coming out with numbers on Thursday morning. We've got lots of earnings that are going to continue all through this. So, yeah, you better make sure that you go to bed a little early and take your Wheaties, because it's going to be a big week for headlines moving the markets back and forth. I was hoping to see any kind of big indication. The only thing I see is that the market's really set up for a lot of downside protection. 3,900 is kind of what the option market makers are looking for now. Maybe that will change as we get through the Fed meeting. I can't find anybody that's a big street name that isn't incredibly bullish, or even talking about being more bullish, or how they could be more bullish than somebody else that's bullish. Needless to say, almost all of them are bullish. The people that aren't, we have levels of shorting in the hedge fund community not seen back since 2008 and 9. They are all predicting the end of the world. I think that's why options kind of have us in this area that's about maybe 39 to 4,100 on the S&P cash. There's just, there's far too many people, I think, right now in the hedge fund community for the market to instantly roll over. And I think that there's far too many people way too bullish for the market to go higher. We've got certainly a manic depressive group in the market. And, you really could see last week, as I pointed out in my newsletter, that the dark pool numbers were just atrocious going higher. That is that the big guys on the street, not necessarily hedge funds, but it could be, just were not buying it. This really looked like some kind of retail chasing the market all the way up. And of course, everybody's just sure that Powell will fold like a $5 suitcase come Wednesday. I also don't think that is a given, but at the same time, kind of hard to bet right now in front of that, and depending on what we do in the next couple of days. Anyway, we have a very what was it? Sybil had multiple personalities. We got a market with multiple personalities, depending on whether you're a retail trader, you're somebody trying to kick some shares off if you're on Wall Street, and or if you're a hedge fund that thinks the end of the world is tomorrow. So a lot of times when we have that much divergence, there's no movement for the most part. I think the market makers are probably right, which is that everybody's a little bit too bullish on the street. The hedge fund folks are probably too bearish. They're expecting, that we could run down to 3,500, and it doesn't really look like there's really much below 3,900 for risk. At least the option market makers are not pointing to that. So we may have a whole lot of nothing. Or as my favorite movie, a fist full of yen. And of course, there's a lot of yen to the dollar. So you may have a handful of not much. 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. And of course, you can always put a message in the den. Not a lot in the way of movers today. One of the dinners went after SoFi for its dead cat bounce. Is that right? Yeah, SOFI. Let's do this. There we go. So you've kind of come up to the first level of resistance. But it's a nice day. Again, way too many people short stocks that are $5 or $10. And unless they're a complete disaster, you're probably going to get run out as they are today in SoFi. Interesting news also in Tesla. We've got the Muskie one, who is no longer the richest man on the planet. That goes to a Kentucky farmer who raises chickens. Apparently eggs are now worth their weight in gold. And all you got to do is be a chicken farmer. Your eggs are worth billions. What else do we have out here? The reason I brought up Tesla was just one of the many of these hedge funds that have really decided to bet the farm, and not a chicken farm, but a regular farm, their homestead, on Tesla going lower. That's generally a bad idea. And if the street guys find out that you're short something like Tesla, they will clean your clock before they let this thing go back lower. There's hedge funds have money. The street has about 10 times that money. So in a war of attrition, certainly the hedge fund guys generally always take it in the shorts. Okay, what else do we have out here? Okay, first question is on memory. How's it doing? And we talk about this a great deal. Micron was down a little bit. Some people really talking smack about Micron. Did you have a breakout on volume Friday? No, you had good volume. It was within a couple of percent of the previous high for volume. You did go over by about 5-6 cents, and you're back into the trading range. The energy off the low at 48.32 is actually fairly good. But I think a lot of people and me are willing to wait and see what happens on this market. Now, TSM, of course, just kind of sideways action out here, even with China back. So we really don't have that much yet. We'll go through some more charts today.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month and try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And as we get back, let's do a little history and we'll move on.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is history repeating, and on this day, okay, got a cat here. Okay, on this day in 1972 in Londonderry, Northern Ireland, 13 unarmed civil rights demonstrators are shot dead by British Army paratroopers in an event that has been known as Bloody Sunday. And, well, we got the U2 song, and we've had to endure Bono for forever, it seems. The protesters, all Northern Catholics, were marching in protest of the British policy of internment of suspected Irish nationalists. British authorities had ordered the march banned, sent troops to confront the demonstrators. When it went ahead, the soldiers fired indiscriminately into the crowd of protesters, killing 13 and wounding 17. And of course, what is it really? Just the last 10 years or so, finally seen an end to hostility in Northern Ireland. And, probably a really good movie. One of the good movies last year was about one of the big actors of England and his days there before he got run out as a Protestant. 877-927-6648. So we go back to the rest of the market. Yeah, kind of, you get these big things that happen. He was, somebody's bringing up Kent State in Ohio, the same kind of thing. Same person in the den brought up the Ford Mach-E. They are out pressing that narrative today. Kind of interesting that Ford, it's Ford Mach-E, which is supposed to be a Mustang, doesn't look anything like it. Not a bad car, and at $46,000, one of the entry-level cars that you can actually afford. And apparently the entry-level one is selling well, mostly because it's the only one of the Mach line that qualifies for the $7,500 tax credit, and that brings it down under $40,000 so you could actually own one. I think there's also a model with an extended distance that just barely gets under the line. That's a few $1,000s more than that. Most people like it. It's different than a Tesla. Tesla's been the same body shape for the last 10 or 12 years. But kind of interesting that they're really pushing that on the airwaves in Bloomberg today. And I think on CNBC, but I didn't get to them. I did see them hammering all day long on Bloomberg about it. Yeah, so it's 10 years, 2012. It's been a long time for car years to have anything that's the same 3 or 4 years. Now, one of the reasons that these companies do change their cars for a long term is a law that was passed in about I think it was 2005 or 2006, and it went into effect in 2008. And basically 3/4 of what a car company makes, it makes in parts and service. They don't make a lot of money generally selling the cars themselves as a percentage. If you bought all the parts to actually make a car, it would cost you about 8 times what the car cost. So what they did is to make sure that no one else can, basically there's a patent, a design patent on most of the body work on a car. That way, if you have something before 2005, you can find all kinds of stuff for your car made in Asia. That's a new headlight that cost you $2,000 from the dealer is $100. I mean, that kind of stuff. So the newer cars all have a problem when it comes to body work on that. And that's why you find that they part out so many more cars than they did before. Instead of trying to fix it, if you can't use less expensive body work or less expensive parts, it's just ludicrously, let me put it this way, ludicrously expensive to rebuild most big cars these days. 877-927-6648. Why don't you give me a call today? It's going to be probably all quiet on the Western Front. Yeah, one of the better movies from last year. There's only a couple, actually, that I thought were worth watching. I'll talk about them in the next break. Anyway, we're looking at Ford up here. Not much in the way of a whole lot of juice, actually. Looking kind of weak, excuse me. And right around levels... right around levels that should be resistance based on confluence, 1317 to 1304. You got into that on Friday with 62 million shares. Today you only have about 43 million shares. So, yeah, I think, as I said in the news segment at the top of the show, the biggest thing is how many cars now are people are at least one payment past due. And maybe a little bit of Christmas and more expensive stuff. But we have to go back to 2009 to find this many people missing their payment on a car. Now, they didn't break it out as to whether or not these were new or used cars or the pay-as-you-go lot things, but I'm pretty sure that these are actual real loans. They may be a little bit more expensive, but nothing new here. We had the same thing at the end of 2009 when people really quit having the money to, they're still paying the rent, but not quite paying the cars. Okay, cue up Florida. Okay. Let's see what we have. Well, we're off 41. So, I don't think that's a whole lot in the scheme of things. Yeah, light volume probably pull back at least into tomorrow, and then probably some sideways into the Fed. Now, when we look at other things going on like earnings, if I can actually get this going here. I don't know why that is not doing anything. Come on. Not exactly sure why that's not doing it. We'll try later. My favorite site for earnings is down, apparently. Okay, other things going on in the market. To PFE, wasn't it? Of course, Pfizer was in the news at the end of last week. When we come back, we'll talk about this. And a good life lesson in trading. And that is when companies give the non-denial denial. We'll talk about that when we return.
If you want to take advantage of the sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, Friday, there had been an undercover expose about one of the employees kind of mouthing off at Pfizer about some kind of Frankenstein-like stuff that they're doing with the bugs out there that we've been talking about ad nauseum for the last 3 years. And you can tell a lot when a company, especially when a public company, responds. If they try to bury it on Friday night, there's probably a little bit more fire than smoke, just smoke on these issues. And then when you actually read the press release, you get what I call the non-denial denial. And, it's kind of like asking the husband, well, did you kill her? And he goes, I haven't ever been in Texas. Well, I didn't ask you if you had been in Texas. I asked you if you killed her. I mean, when you answer every other question but the question you've been asked, there's generally a little bit of guilt going on there somewhere, and a little bit more toward the fire side than the smoke side of the argument. But, they kind of, if you dig into it a little bit, they're more than willing to go past what I think the law says. I'm not an attorney or an attorney general, but my guess is that there is going to be a little bit more going on out here, especially for Pfizer, on the issue of ethics and where those ethics hit a legal constraint. But, it's kind of, you just have to kind of read the non-denial denial to get a good feel of it. But anytime you read something and you think, well, do I have to take a shower? Yeah, you kind of feel a little dirty after you read it. Yeah, that's what this one was. So I would venture on the side of caution. There will be hearings on this issue before, but the idea is there's just so much money to be made in the biotech that a lot of people can also say, well, I can save a lot of lives. Well, at the same point, if whatever you're working with gets out, you can lose a lot of lives. So, the truth, it'll take a long time to get there, but it's not completely made up out of whole cloth what everybody's talking about. And we brought it up last week because I was kind of hinting at what was going on and that I didn't want to get into it till I had a chance to look at it. But certainly the drug companies, by a factor of 2 on any sector of the market or in the industry, have been fined twice more than anybody else for evil doings. And a lot of this time it has to do with statistics, because that kind of tells you whether you can sell your drug or not. And, the biggest thing is do no harm. First, do no harm. And if you do a little harm, some people think that's okay. And unfortunately, legally, becomes problematic. And we're not in the right or wrong business. We're in the up or down business, and a lot of times that coincides with the legal side of the argument. 877-927-6648. Okay. Someone brought up who wants to live in Detroit. There's a great part in a movie that I posted in the Den that's a cheap ripoff of Enter the Dragon. And they take this spy in front of the warlord, and he says, nothing you do can scare me. And he goes, send him to Detroit. And he goes, no, don't do that, not Detroit. It's one of the funniest things in that Fistful of Yen, part of the Kentucky Fried Movie. 877-927-6648. Okay, what else do we have? Okay. Okay. Back to the usual suspects that drive the market quite a bit. NVIDIA is down. I think it was about 5%, wasn't it? NVDA. Take a quick look at the percentage. Yeah, 4.77 right now. You did have a kind of an end to this, what was kind of a weaker ABC on the way up. Again, driven by so many people being short. The volume wasn't all that bad. You did break the 65 million share high on June 2nd. And that was broken on Friday by 54 million shares. So you're a little light up there. The good part is if you want to buy this and you think that I'm wrong, thinking that the market's all ready to go much higher, if you could get a pullback to about 64 to 68 bucks, that is where Confluence lies. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. Oh, we got the earnings back up again. Finally came back. After the bell tonight, which is what I wanted to talk about, is Whirlpool, WHP. WHR, I'm saying. Okay. And you got Confluence right about 168. Excuse me, 160. Yeah, 168 and 166. So you could have a little bit of move up there, but if you're having problems making car payments, I don't think you're buying washers and dryers. And if you're not buying new houses, you're probably not getting new washers and dryers installed in it. After the bell tonight, also NXPI. I mean, you got decent volume. Just, the biggest problem I see with this is the pullback in what Samsung said last week on how many smartphones they're selling. The last quarter was the biggest drop by percentage ever in their smartphone sales. And of course, these guys basically are selling all those near-field communications chips to them. Also in this sector also is Sanmina. Come on. Sanmina, he said, but type backwards. Today it's retesting the previous low with very light volume. So either you're going to bust down probably to the 51 area, but if you didn't have earnings tonight, this would be a go for higher prices. 700,000 shares on the last low at 55.25. That's the January 5th low into the January 30th low. And right now, like I said, 224,000, fairly light volume. To see if there's anything else. Homework and Payne. We'll have that. It's hard for me to understand how anybody thinks that OPEC is going to walk away with anything that weakens the price of crude here now. We also know that Russia, we really kind of lost pricing pressure against them exporting oil right now. So I don't know. It seems, if you're in that sector, it should be good.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
We talked about NVIDIA. We also have AMD. Both of these companies are busy shooting themselves in the foot. Not exactly sure why. Certainly irritating many of their retail consumers. Most of the high-end guys are pretty happy about what they're doing. It has been leaked this weekend that AMD is going to continue beating about the head and groin Intel over and over again on new products, and making sure that at least Intel Inside is one of these things that is maybe a forgotten memory in the coming years. You know, when you get to the higher end, Intel still has a lot of tricks up its sleeves for servers. But you know what? You leave the wrong door open and the wrong dog comes home. And Intel is continuing to do the same thing. We haven't looked at Intel today after it got eviscerated last week on high volume. Yeah, you just don't have much going on out here. Everybody thinks that the turn is coming. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I just don't see that they have the right guys or the belief system to go after a company that's no longer driven on only being first and thinking about everything else second. And why you can hate that as a human, as a stockholder, when you look at everything else other than building products that destroy your competitor, you got some real problems. And certainly Intel does. Okay. So what else do we have out here going on? Okay. See if there's anything else in here looked. Okay. Now tomorrow morning, a bright spot on energy comes back with ExxonMobil. And of course, we still have some really bad ticks from last week. I guess we're just going to have to learn to ignore them. Today we're down a little bit on XOM. Very tough week because you're going to have earnings and then you're going to have the OPEC meeting, and both of those are going to be big drivers of Exxon this week. Also in that same space, we've got Marathon Petroleum. They're out at 6:25 in the morning. So support comes back in at about 122, which is not bad, not a huge risk reward, but I don't see, if these guys were coming out after the OPEC meeting this week, I'd think a lot more about it. We were talking about Ford before. General Motors also this week. And you've got just a little doji out here today. I don't see much. Also, Phillips 66. I forget that I miss the dinosaurs. Where are those dinosaurs of years gone by? I thought that was pretty good advertising. I wonder why they ever got rid of them. Maybe too passé. So we've got that. Anyway, down a little bit today. Light volume so far. I don't see much going on. Same problem with all of those. Untied Parcel. United Parcel. Just going sideways, really. If we ignore the elephant in the room, which are all the bad ticks from the 24th, you go back, really this thing is, since Christmas, has really been going sideways with just a minor move higher. We also have Caterpillar. Now, one of the guys I talked to that I know is an Australian, he says, man, is Caterpillar walking by a lot of sales because they can't get some of the products out the door. And most of these things now in Australia in the mining industry are getting repairs instead of buying new products because there are new parts for a lot of these. And these things are fairly expensive parts, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, some parts for the engines. They've kind of given up down in Australia, and there's a huge burgeoning business of people bringing back machines and machine tools, lathes, all kinds of other old tooling that they continue to snap up from around the world to repair all these things. I guess maybe things are too good, but when these things pull back, they may find that many of these people have decided now that there's an infrastructure to repair and replace Caterpillar parts might be interesting. Just kind of sideways action. Okay, Cisco, the other Cisco, the one with food. I've been looking at restaurants down here, and they have not been that crowded. They're not empty either. But we've had a pretty good crowd come down for winter. A lot of the people, especially from Canada, weren't allowed to last year, are down here. The streets are pretty packed. Generally, they go back after Easter, so we've got a few more months of them hanging around. The snowbirds I'm talking about. But I think the higher prices have kind of eaten in to a lot of the chain restaurants, at least when I go by the parking lot. There are not that many people anymore. Now, on the opposite side of that is McDonald's, which I also don't see a lot of people in the drive-thru, or not as many as I had in the past, but this is holding up fairly good, going sideways. This thing kind of looks like it's ready to start breaking out. Boring food. Well, if you live down here, I always said that service comes with a scowl in Clearwater. That's because if you go to some of the places you want to go on the beach, they're run by mom and pop guys, and they're always hiring a bunch of people that come back that are school age, and half of them show up and half of them don't. They all pretty much figure they're entitled. So a lot of people that live down here like going to the chain restaurants because generally those guys are a little smarter about who they hire, and they're not as flaky, and you may get your food. It's not perfect down here in Clearwater, but the chain restaurants sometimes are a lot better than the service with a scowl on the beach. But that's anywhere you go that is a vacation haven, because they put a mandatory 15% or 20% tip on the bill before you start. Especially this time of year, we're starting to get into the French, and I guess they're the last thing in the world they think about is tipping. So we hear a lot about this time. International paper, if we're looking for a canary in the coal mine, certainly international paper. We are just hanging out and bouncing off confluence at 35.50, 35.60. We're back up at the higher end of the range. This company definitely needs to do well if we think that we're out of the recession. We'll be back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we get ready to wrap up the show for today, last question comes in on Visteon. Talked a lot about automobiles today. Probably apropos with us finding out that more people are now missing their payments than back to 2009. Man, you ran right into the November 11th high. That high had 416,000 shares. Came into it a bit shy with 350,000 shares. I do not know when earnings is. Let me see if I can get that going here. VC. See where? Come on. Thursday, February 16th. So you're coming up on earnings, and I don't know if there's a whole lot you could say, but yeah, these things seem to be pushing very hard at the top end. Of course, these guys are more about making a lot of the components, and maybe they've been able to raise their prices with the shortage. I don't know enough internally about how they make it, but Visteon makes a lot of parts for car manufacturers, and a lot of those parts happen to be electronics. So probably not a bad business to be in. I think people were bringing that up in the den a little bit ago. But, yeah. Good business to be in is car electronics. Don't see much. Anyway, as we go to looking at the market close here today, let's take a look. Yeah, we're off 48 points on the S&P cash. So we're starting to fade out. The biggest problem I have is the volume at almost 3 o'clock here. We're just doing 7.4 billion shares. So this is a light volume pullback. Again, there's so many plates in the air are spinning right now with earnings, the Fed, the ECB, the OPEC meeting. It's going to be a headline-driven market most of the week. Eat your Wheaties. You're going to need them. Sell when you can, not when you have to. We will see you here tomorrow, yet again.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible